Today on Forbes, the most hated guy on Wall Street, the unspoken story around Howard Lutnick, Trump's pick for Commerce Secretary. On the morning of July 27th, Cantor Fitzgerald's longtime CEO, Howard Lutnick, took the stage at Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville, Tennessee, where thousands of crypto fanatics had gathered to listen to royalty from the MAGA universe, including Vivek Ramaswamy, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and Donald Trump himself. During Lutnick's 20-minute talk, the burly, balding 63-year-old made an impassioned defense of Tether, a cryptocurrency attached to the US dollar, and announced the launch of an initial $2 billion financing business to provide leverage to Bitcoin investors. But before he began proselytizing, he retold a familiar story. On September 11th, 2001, he was dropping off his oldest son on his first day of kindergarten when a plane struck the World Trade Center, where Cantor Fitzgerald's headquarters sat on the 101st to 105th floors. All 658 of his employees in the building that morning were killed, including Lutnick's brother, Gary, his best friend, Doug, 28 sets of brothers, and 1 set of sisters. Describing the close-knit workplace, Lutnick recalled his hiring strategy, saying, quote, "We had an unusual model. We only wanted to work with people that we liked." Out of tragedy came purpose. Lutnick promised to give 25% of the firm's profits to families of the deceased for 5 years, eventually shelling out $180 million. 23 years later, Lutnick still sees himself as a model of patriotism and determination. Many others do, too. When Trump announced Lutnick's nomination as Commerce Secretary on Truth Social on Tuesday, he did not focus on his business acumen or trade policy knowledge. Instead, Trump mostly recounted the 9/11 events and described Lutnick as a, quote, "inspiration to the world," and, quote, "the embodiment of resilience in the face of unspeakable tragedy." It's a true and undoubtedly inspirational story. But Lutnick has a darker side, which emerges in court documents and conversations with people who have done business with him. For years, they say, he and his firm have been pulling money from people, clients, investors, and colleagues, making Lutnick, according to one former partner, quote, "the most hated guy on Wall Street." His multi-billion-dollar empire, which includes 2 publicly traded companies and a privately held investment bank, is a tangle of self-dealing, with record-keeping issues that date back decades and infighting that continues to the present day. Another former employee says, using an expletive, quote, "the whole firm is about effing people. It's about squeezing people." Lutnick runs his firm through a partnership, but there is no doubt who has the ultimate say. Now worth more than $1.5 billion, Lutnick pays himself like a king, cutting into partnership profits. A former partner says, quote, "he could do what he wanted." According to a lawsuit filed last year in federal court, Lutnick made employees take 10 to 20% of their pay in partnership units, which sounded nice but caused problems when the employees tried to get their money out. Agreements allegedly gave Lutnick sole authority to stiff former partners whom he believed violated broadly defined non-compete provisions. An estimated 40% did not end up with all their money after departing, according to the lawsuit, which says it was all part of a scheme to fool employees and enrich Lutnick. Another former colleague says, quote, "he only pays if he wants to pay you." Lutnick's companies have moved to dismiss the suit. Through a spokesperson, Lutnick declined to be interviewed for this story. He does have defenders, who suggest some people just aren't tough enough to handle him, or smart enough to read through the partnership agreements that one executive estimates run 700 pages. Even those who support Lutnick, however, aren't eager to share their thoughts on the record. A former colleague says, quote, "people are very scared of him. I witnessed this stuff firsthand. I witnessed the bullying. I witnessed the aggression." For full coverage, check out Dan Alexander's piece on forbes.com. This is Kieran Meadows from Forbes. Thanks for tuning in.